Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of I Got Gameplay. It's a two-man show today. It's myself and also the returning Xander Scullion. As we're going to do I wouldn't call this a theme show, but it's a show about something that we're both concerned about. Myself and Xander have been very vocal in terms of Kickstarter. And before you guys get really vocal about it as well and start going against us on this, the reason why we're very vocal about this situation, because it's rather weird. There's a lot of stuff that's been cropping up. We've got some positives in the fact that we're getting a new Shenmue game. Hooray! You know, that's going to be great, having Shenmue 3. But there have been other problems as well that's coming out. And also, with the announcement that Sony have made quite recently, which Xander kind of put out there in terms of their own kind of GoFundMe, Kickstarter thing that they're doing, it leaves a lot of things in question. Now, we'll talk about that in a little bit while we go on to our feelings back, because I want to get Xander to kind of open up the floor a little bit on this. So we're going to forgo all the news and bits and pieces and get right in, get our hands really dirty. Now, Xander, tell me what your thoughts are on Kickstarter and on these games being developed, because I know you since Mighty Number 9 and since a few issues that we've been having with there, because we're both backers of this. We backed Mighty Number 9 to high heaven because we wanted to see a successor to the Mega Man franchise. But I wanna get Xander to kind of speak on it and talk about his thoughts. And by the way, if you want to hear a more detailed retrospective on what Xander thinks, you can go to his channel, which is youtube.com/Xander Scullion, where he talks like very candidly about this. Now, Xander, you've got the floor. Tell us what are your feelings about this, and why are there kind of two sides to this whole Kickstarter debate?
Well, first of all, I want to say it's great to be back. It's been a while since I've been on I Got Gameplay. I think it's been like months.
Yeah, I think so, because a lot of it's due to work times, and also I know you've had some personal situations and stuff going on. So when it comes to stuff, you kind of record at different times from IGG. But it's been great. Me myself as well, I've been running around trying to get this everything all sorted out in terms of the shows, and I know that I'm going to be leaving at the end of July, so the show's going to be transitioning over to having a new host and stuff. So it's very weird trying to get everybody together and get these shows recorded, because everyone's doing their own thing. But today, the stars have aligned. and we've kind of got the E-Tank group back together for this. So so let's go on and just discuss why there's two sides to this Kickstarter debate, and what are your thoughts precisely, because I know you've been making some thoughts which a lot of people, some have been okay with, others have been a bit against. But what's your opinion?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I think something like Kickstarter, it's never a black and white situation. I think there's lots of shades of gray. And first of all, I think the thing that really made me want to make this video on Kickstarter was Concept released a new game they're coming out with today at exclusively at Anime Expo. That's where they released the video, and it's a game called Red Ash, and it looks like a spiritual successor to Mega Man Legend, which we all know. All of us have been wanting Mega Man Legends 3 for many years.
Yeah.
And people have signed petitions, people have like tried to get Capcom to get a part of it. And I know once Keiji Mifune left the company, they were kind of like, man, this might be dead in the water, but people still had hope. Now, since I made my video, I mentioned in my video, I was like, man, I hope this isn't a Kickstarter. Well, I just went on Facebook and just got confirmation that Red Ash is going to be another Kickstarter. And this is where it kind of rubs me the wrong way, because you look at Concept. Concept is not an indie company. They are run by Keiji Mifune. They've made other games. They made other games before Mighty Number 9.
This is the thing as well. I had to clarify with you on that one, because I remember you said that they were an indie dev company. I was like, no, they're not. They've produced games before, and this is the thing about this. And when they did Mighty Number 9, I can understand it, because I thought they were going to self-publish. I really thought they were going to develop the game, self-publish, and kind of kickstart, in a sense, their company to becoming a bigger entity in the gaming infrastructure. But then a lot of stuff was happening. Like with Mighty Number 9, they kept asking for more money, and it got to the point where it felt like, when you have like those charities knocking on your door or cold calling you, asking you to give them more than what you're giving. Like you get them with a nice charity, you're giving $10 a month, and then they start sending you letters. We need this amount. We need this amount. And then you start thinking to yourself, 1 second, Akon's going out there making sure that 6 million people have heat and lights in their homes. But these charities have been asking for all this money for all this time and have done excuse my language, fuck all for everybody. And Concept is pretty much like that. They've been, and I hate to use the term, e-begging for more and more fun. We want to do a cartoon. It's like, I understand you want to do a cartoon, but we wanted the game. We don't want a cartoon. If it kicks off, if the game makes a lot of money and you guys want to finance a cartoon, that's on you. Do you know what I mean? And
exactly.
It keeps like they keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and it's gotten to the point where this is becoming really uncomfortable. To the point, it's like having one of your best friends ask for money from you, say, "Hey, dude, I'll pay it back," and you're like, "No, it's fine." And then that same guy go to you again and say, "Hey, bro, I need more money."
Yeah, well, the thing is like Mighty Number Nine. Their goal was 900,000. That was their goal to make the game. They raised almost 4 million. 38. Yeah, almost $4 million. I'm looking at the Kickstarter right now, which I had to click on a couple of things to actually find the goal because it's being hidden now with everything else they have popped up. But yeah, it was like I remember that's how you and I met. The first episode of I Got Gameplay was talking about Mighty Number Nine 2 years ago, and I remember you and I both were just very, very excited about it, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
And I put $60 down. I'm like, all right, here we go. This is going to be awesome. And then like I want to say maybe a year later, maybe not even a year. They started.
It was less than a year, because I remember you were getting really pissy because they had that girl on board who was playing the arty, that feminazi in a sense. And I hate to use that term.
The one that got the job because she was screwing around with one of the co-workers.
Yeah.
Yeah, how empowering is that?
And you were saying that, and you're like, it's you were saying to me yourself, you're like, this is ridiculous. And I kept trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. I was literally sitting there going, I can understand where they're coming from. And then eventually it just went, I really can't. I can't keep defending them. I love Inafune. I love Concept. I love what the company is about. But this is getting ridiculous now, to the point where they're like, oh, look, tax-free, free money. Because, no offense, guys, Kickstarter is a charity fund. People hand over their money. You don't pay tax on these because these are donations. So this company is getting them via donations, which means they can finance a game that they develop via donations. And the other thing that kind of bugs me about this is they've now handed publishing rights over to Deep Silver, which means they're going to get another ton of money from the publishing company.
Well, see, look at it this way too. They're doing more than just Mighty Number Nine. I mean, they've done Gunvolt. They did that game, and it was kind of like this. It was sort of like the spiritual successor to the Mega Man Zero games.
Yeah.
And they also, now they're doing a brand new IP for Xbox One. So Microsoft's giving them money.
Yeah.
So I mean, to see that, and then to see another Kickstarter for Red Ash, I feel like it's becoming a trendy. This is what you do, and it's really making the actual indie developers suffer because they're being overshadowed by developers that have more notoriety, that are getting more publicity, because there's a lot more YouTubers that are going to make videos being like, hey guys, support Bloodstained, the new Igarashi spiritual successor to Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I know that because I'm one of them.
And again, this one's made over 5 million, right?
Yeah.
Think about this for a second, guys. It's made over 5 million. And again, guess who got the publishing rights? Want to take a guess? Deep Silver. So again, these guys are going to make more money out of it. And I've got a funny feeling that this is not going to just be a trend just for Concept. I've got a funny feeling that Iger's going to be, again, running to Kickstarter for his next game. And this is what's worrying me right now, because there's been some fantastic game developments out there, like Pixel Noir, for instance. Didn't get funded on Kickstarter, and the developers are trying their best to try and secure funds. And a lot of people sitting there going, well, what about Sony and Microsoft? They're doing an indie dev fund. Or what about Nintendo? They're doing an indie dev fund. they shouldn't rely on these third-party companies because the indie devs are tried and tested. Kickstarter should be used as a start-up resource. It's your way to help develop the next big thing, right? Then after Kickstarter, after these games make their money, because I'm sorry, Mighty Number 9 is going to make a shite ton of money based on physical releases alone.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be asking for more money. But sorry, I went on a weird tangent there. So your train of thought is you went straight, like we met on that episode, and you were excited, but then things took a turn, kind of a turn, in a sense.
Yeah, because they, of course, had terrible PR. The PR department was going to shit. So much so they were like talking about changing Beck, the main character. They're wanting to change him to a female. It was just fucking crazy. But after that, then they turned around and they decided, hey, we want voice actors. Oh, hey, we want voice actors in every language. Hey, we want a cartoon. And they decided to have a what quote unquote slacker backer, which they had
another I think was an insulting name, by the way.
Yeah, slacker backer. That's terrible. So they decided to do this again, and it pains me because some people do not see it. Some people are like, "Well, this gives me a chance to, fund it because I didn't have the money at the time. This is awesome." But I'm like, dude, it's already funded. Just wait for the game to come out now. The thing is, GameStop's having pre-orders right now, and the pre-orders are actually better than what I'm getting for $60.
Yeah, backing. I think mine was I get like a box and 2 digital copies of the game. So I get one which I decided is going to be on my Wii U, and the other one's going to be on my Xbox 360, which I'm fine for that. For the amount I paid, I'm happy with that. Will I get a physical copy? I don't know yet, because at the moment I'm financially I'm not on the best sort of sides here. But this is what makes me laugh. Once they get the physical release done, they're going to have a ton more finances come from this. This game, in my opinion, I think it will probably end up making, if you count the Kickstarter that they already made, they made nearly close to 5 million on it. And the game sales, the after sales, and the pre-orders, I've got a funny feeling they're probably going to be making like 10 mil off this game. And this is a game that they have not spent a penny on.
Yeah, here's the thing. They're going to be making almost $10 million on Mighty Number 9. But then they're going to turn around and ask for another campaign Kickstarter for Red Ash. And people are completely oblivious. People are completely blind. And they're not like, hey, wait a minute. What? I mean, it would be like, okay, it would be like software. Okay, it would be like them making Bloodborne and making tons of money on Bloodborne, but then doing a Kickstarter on Dark Souls 3.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense. I mean, that's what you do. Like, what are they doing with this money? Yeah. I mean, I know it's not particularly my business. I know that
because you invested in the product.
Yeah,
this is what I've got funny. When you're doing films, and you're basically a producer in a sense, or if you produce a game, you're going to want to know where your finances are going. You want to know how much they're spending, where the spending's going, and what it is that your money's being spent on. You also want to basically put forth your own side. Sometimes producers get to add little extras to it and kind of have a say, which is what a lot of the Kickstarter backers have. But no one has opened their books and said, this is where your money's gone. Instead, they went, your money is not enough, we want more.
Yeah. It's so crazy. I'm actually trying to get the Kickstarter up right now to see how much money they've already made. Because I mean, like that's the thing. Like these Kickstarters, they have so much notoriety with the developers that they're making this money like it's nothing.
Yeah, it's literally like they've, in a term that I never usually use, but they're making it rain. They're like strippers at a strip club who are just getting money thrown at them. Again, I was taken in by this. I was taken in by a lot of these studios doing that. But then I started thinking, and it goes back to the whole Zach Braff thing, because I remember we discussed this about Zach Braff a while back, how he made $2 million off of Kickstarter to fund his movie, which went straight to DVD. And you didn't hear anything about the movie after. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is where kind of the thing goes to it. It's like the money's been wasted.
Oh, this is funny. Actually, Red Ash has two campaigns going at the same time. They have Red Ash the cartoon being funded, and they also have Red Ash the video game. Now, the video game, the goal is 800,000. It's already at 4,200, and they're not saying how much they need for the animated feature, but it's already over 5% funded at 7,000. So they're having two Kickstarters right now.
And they don't, and people don't have a problem with this whatsoever. You know, this is becoming a disturbing trend because as what Concept are doing here is they are basically they've probably over the from the last two titles funded from Kickstarter, they're probably going to end up taking in maybe 10 mil from it, and this is untaxable income. This is income that they've made, charitable donations that are given to them to make these games. And this is becoming a trend. It's become a big trend because, as you pointed out, Sony have now decided they want to get in on this because this is a bit of tasty, money that they're getting. This is a bigger thing than pre-orders, and I'll tell you why. People can throw money at these things, and companies don't have to produce a finished game for you. They could just go, hey, we're doing this, and we're going to end up giving you a subpar product if you want to. And I'm not saying Mighty Number 9 is going to be a subpar product because I haven't seen it yet. No one has seen Mighty Number 9. We've seen a few little demos of the levels, but that's it. We've seen a few caricatures, but I've also basically been hearing people being laid off as well. We've had people being laid off as well from Mighty Number 9 quite recently because they're done with that. And I've noticed as well, Concept have never done games on their own. They've partnered with other people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And doesn't that kind of say something to people there? They work with other companies to kind of downgrade costs. And as I said, I'm not sitting there trying to crap on anybody or saying this is bad, but it's becoming a trend. They've got Recore that's being developed for Xbox One. They have Mighty Number 9. They've done Azure Striker Gunvolt. They've done Soul Sacrifice Delta, which was a sequel to Soul Sacrifice, which they did in 2013. They've done Guild 02, Bugs vs. Tank on the Nintendo 3DS. They've done Sweet Fuse at your side. This is not an indie company. This is a company. This company is probably a bigger company now than Capcom is.
Oh, definitely.
And this is the thing, man.
Well, let's talk about the Sony thing because I know we mentioned that. I got this from TheVerge.com, and it says Sony launches crowdfunding platform for its own new products. Now, this is in Japan only for now, but Sony launched a new crowdfunding platform designed to find and finance projects developed by Sony employees. The platform is called First Flight. It's a part of an effort by the Japanese company to promote new business ideas as it tries to drive itself back into profits. In addition to crowdfunding new projects, First Flight will also let backers directly buy and pre-order new devices developed by Sony workers.
So basically, the idea is, if you've got an idea, get the idea in. They'll then kickstart that idea, and if the idea makes the money, then they'll put it into development.
Pretty much.
But here's the thing. Sony is a company that makes billions a year. Why do they need this?
Well, I know. So it comes to show you how much money Sony is losing, though.
Yeah.
Sadly, I mean, a lot of people, they're kind of blindsided and they think Sony's doing perfectly fine, but Sony's actually in a lot of financial trouble. And if anything, this really, really shows it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's like, this is Sony. This isn't, an indie company. This is an entrepreneur trying to make a name for itself.
This is a company that owns 6 studios.
Yeah.
They own 6 gaming studios. They own a gaming console. They are developing. They're working on kind of a gaming Netflix identity as well. The fact that Sony are putting this out there, I think firstly it's insulting But secondly, I think it is desperation, like you said. It shows you what the company is losing and how bad this is kind of gotten. And it's worrying, at the same time. It's extremely worrying because as a company, Sony really needs to kind of get their act together. But as things go as well, we can kind of segue off of that onto another Sony, a title that's going to be Sony PlayStation only, Shenmue.
Yeah.
And the reason is it was announced a couple of weeks ago after reaching its stretch goal of 3 million that Shenmue 3 is only being backed by Wise.net, the company that opened up the initial Kickstarter, and that Sony is not going to be financing this whatsoever, even though it's going to be a PlayStation exclusive. And
Yeah.
in an announcement that was kind of sketchy at best, but also an honest one. And I'm going to say, even though I felt like, what? I was kind of confused by this, but it was an honest one at the same time. I do feel that it was poorly done, in a sense. If they needed this money, if they needed to hit a 10 million goal, they should have just said, we need the full 10 mil. Do you know what I mean? Because I think backers would have got it. Backers would have handed the money over.
Well, the thing is like that's what I also go into with Kickstarters is there is some gray to it, and I know there's some people I talk to that do not support Kickstarters whatsoever. Like these are nothing but schemes. This is nothing. I think it's a good medium, but the biggest thing is honesty and to be perfectly open, because what happens is when they have these campaigns and they have these these presentations and they tell you everything. If someone finds out a little skeleton in the closet, or if they find out a little something, you are messed up. You're screwed. You're screwed. And that's kind of what happened with the Shenmue 3. Now, the thing is like I have to separate my morals and my gaming, because like my gaming side is like, I don't care, I really want Shenmue 3, but of course the morals come in and I'm just kind of like, man, something's not right about this.
Same. Yeah, I when I was announced, because Fungo, who's a really good friend of mine, is a part of the Shenmue 500 campaign. And the Shenmue 500 campaign is something that was put together by Fungo and a few other devs, and also James Rayner. We did an episode on IGG about it, and I love the campaign. I think there should be a Shenmue 3, but as soon as this was announced and then they put it at the low amount of 3 mil, I was like, 1 second, wasn't Shenmue 2 made with 10 mil? How the heck is this working?
The first Shenmue was $47 million to make. It pretty much put a Dreamcast out of business.
Yeah.
That was one of the biggest. A lot of people talk about the Dreamcast and they wonder why not Sony, but Sega went down so fast.
Yeah.
It was because of Shenmue. They put so much money into it and it was a commercial failure.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's, as I said, I'm not against this, but I felt it was when they first announced it, I was like, okay, maybe because technology has gone leaps and bounds, maybe because they had an outside financer to kind of make up the rest of it. Even if it was like 5 mil and then Sony was going to put in 5 mil of their own money. Do you know what I mean? It would have made sense. But then, like a couple of weeks ago, an announcement was made on the Kickstarter page, an announcement was made on forums, and I even, an announcement was made on the Nerd Haven for group that I was a part of. Oh, I'm still a part of it, but it was made on that. And I remember seeing something that I'd never seen before. Alpha Omega Sin accept something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Alpha Omega Sin always gets touchy about subjects. He always guns people down. He's a YouTube ranter in a sense, for those people who don't know who he is. Nice guy, but that's what he does. His main focus is he kind of wants to smell the bullshit out of everything, And usually, if it was another company that did something like this, he would have been gunning after them. You know what I mean? But he accept this. And I was just sat there. I was like, well, 1 second. Aren't you going to go on the attack and pick this apart? Because a lot of people have done that. A lot of forums and blogs have kind of gone the other way and just went, "This is wrong. How can they be asking for more money now? The way that this was planned, it was horrible. Blah blah blah." And he just went, "Okay."
Well, my thing is, people that rant about Capcom
Yeah.
are so quick to be like, get really, really pissed that there's on disc DLC, but they don't mind paying millions of dollars to help back something that they already have money to back with to begin with. It would be like this. It would be like me telling you, Burhan, being like, "Hey, man, I'm really hungry. I want to go out for lunch, but I don't have any money. Can you spot me?" And you'd be like, "Sure, man." And you take me out. You buy me a burger, we sit down, have a good chat, and then while we're talking, you see me open up my wallet and count my 20s.
Yeah, yeah.
That's exactly what's going on.
And I'll be like, "Hey, dude, what? I thought you didn't have no money." And you're like, "Yeah, I don't have no money for you."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay.
I didn't have any money. I didn't have any money to pay for the burger.
Yeah.
That's not burger money.
Yeah, this is money for other stuff. Like, this is hooker money.
Yeah. Cocaine.
Yeah, no, I totally get it, and it's one of those things where that's what kind of bugs me about this. And again, as I said, I'm friends with guys like Fungo here, who back the campaign. I want to see a Shenmue 3 as well, but there's a lot of shady shit going on here, and I don't understand. As I said, they've been truthful about it, but why now? Why wait till now to announce this?
Yeah.
Either there was two things that happened. They had the deal with Sony, and then Sony just went, we're rescinding on that deal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or secondly, they'd never had the deal in place. They were going to make it with the 3 million budget, but then realised we can score more money.
Yeah. Which, I mean, like, even if they were saying, "Hey, we're doing this Kickstarter just so we can get the rights to Shenmue," like, "Hey, we're going to buy the rights from Sega," that would be awesome. I mean, I would be like, "Okay, that's cool." It's like, yeah, we're going to buy the name of Shenmue, we're going to buy the rights to it, and Sony's going to help us.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's another thing as well. We don't know what the hell's going on in terms of the Sega situation, because most people know about my situation with the Silent Hill franchise, and how I managed to get kind of an email confirmation that they would let us, kickstart a pilot for a Silent Hill TV show. And then after the whole breakdown in Konami, it kind of, went awry. Even though I'm trying to kind of get proper confirmation and get an agreement signed, nobody has done. Do you know what I mean? Nobody has done anything, and I don't want to put anything out there because I'm afraid they're going to jump in and say, "No, stop." And this is the thing that worries me about this. Apparently, Sega still owns the rights to Shenmue. And what they've said is they're allowed to use it. I don't understand how... The thing I get annoyed with Kickstarter is transparency. There is no full transparency. If you went to an investor, if I went to an investor and said, "Right, this is my company, but I'm not going to show you my financials, and I'm not going to give you the full details about my ideas," you just got to understand that we're going to be amazing. People will just look at you and go, "No." But because Kickstarter, they can throw everybody's stuff at it and just went, "Here you go. This is what we've got. We're not going to be truthful with you guys. We're going to be as sketchy as fuck, and you got to accept that." And people are throwing money at it.
They're doing it though because there is games that we want. I mean, that's where I was saying the gaming and the moral, you're kind of having a tug of war with it, because they are games that we want. I mean, we want another Mega Man Legends. We want another Mega Man. We want another, 2D Castlevania and the Metroidvania style. We want a new Banjo-Kazooie. We want these games. And, they're coming in. We're like, "Hey, we have these games. They're a little different, but we have them for you. And so of course we're all about it. But then we find out all the shadiness. I'm still in disbelief right now that Red Ash is even a Kickstarter. I'm still kind of shocked and all about that
Did I say this
because
to you though as well though? When I remember when Rob pointed this out, I was like, "What is this?" And I had a question mark. And then you pointed out to me, and I was like, "I bet you they're going to Kickstarter it." And you were just like, "No, no, they wouldn't do that, would they?" And lo and behold,
well, it was like, I think I'm reading it the best. I'm reading a comment right now because, I made a comment being like, I can't back this. Do we really need another Kickstarter? And someone wrote down, if you're a fan of Mega Man Legends, then you probably might want to. I mean, that's the gaming mentality. They're like people are programmed being like, well, I really want this game, so screw it. I'm going to go ahead and do it. And see, the thing is like these are the same people that complain about companies like Capcom being like, oh, Capcom's so evil, or EA or Ubisoft. They complain about unfinished games, on disc DLC.
yeah,
They complain about this stuff, but they're fine giving a company more money than they already have to make games that, you kind of got Stockholm syndrome.
yeah,
You know, it's weird.
yeah. No, I agree. And this is the problem. It's it's kind of tapping into people's fanboyism,
Yeah.
or fangirlism, in a sense, and that's where the problem lies with this. It's, I know you like this, so I'm gonna put this out there. I'm the original creator behind this, so how can I lie to you? And then it's, it wasn't the same as the Ghouls and Ghosts situation. And me and Xander, we had a funny situation happen with a Ghouls and Ghosts game, or Ghosts and Goblins, that they were trying to kickstart for the Ouya. Firstly, the company behind it didn't have the rights. They said they talked to Capcom, and Capcom were like, yeah, dude, go nuts, which they didn't. Secondly, they were getting very, I would say it was like, they were like having a person stealing and then feeling guilty for stealing from you. Like, well, if you don't believe us, we can give you the money back. Just fun, we're doing this game, but we'll call it something else. And it was just, and then Capcom, someone tipped Capcom off, and Capcom went in, put a stop to it. Kickstarter just kicked it off and just went no. And this is the thing, and the company themselves look like a very, they look like an indie company. All they needed to really do is say, look, we're an indie company. We want to produce games. This is the team we have. These are the sketches we've got. This is the game we're producing. Back us. If they were a lot more confident, they probably would have gotten away with it. But it was shady as hell. And they were counting on people's fanboys and fangirls of the franchise to kind of jump in and get the project kickstarted. Which is where the problem lies. This is the issue that I have with this. It doesn't seem like that. It's the same situation as pre-ordering. Do you remember the days when pre-ordering used to give you extra bonuses and stuff that you can get if you put money down on the game? And then it turned into a situation where developers were locking you in to buy a game, even though the game was subpar. You'd still buy the game,
Yeah.
And you couldn't even get a refund if you didn't like the game. You would have to trade it in. And thus created kind of a conundrum where pre-ordering became a fact where they were getting guaranteed money. At least 30% of the game's total investment would come out of your pocket, and then you'd pay the rest when the game was released. Which you would do because they wouldn't tell you anything about the game. It's like, nowadays you don't get to see much about a game that's being developed now. They'll just give you a few stills or a few shots or even a trailer. You pre-order the game, you get the extra content, and then when you buy the game, you're sitting there going, oh, this was terrible, a la Watch Dogs. But you still paid Ubisoft the money. They still guaranteed got your money, They got 30% of whatever the game cost. Then they got the rest when you bought the game or you bought the special edition version. And I've seen people, hand back Yeah, those Watchdog editions. I've seen them in shops now. Being like I saw £100 PlayStation 3 edition of the game being sold for 15 quid. And it's with like the special edition stuff in it. And think
Yeah.
about that. Now Kickstarter is even worse, in a sense. And again, guys, I'm not shitting on the platform. It can work if you're an indie dev and you need that initial backing because you're investing in a company's lifeline. But Concept already got that backing for Mighty Number 9. They shouldn't be doing this again. It's
Yeah.
insulting. And they are basically doing it because it means that they don't have to spend any money on the game. It's not a risk for them anymore. Does that make sense? It's more your
Oh,
risk.
yeah.
It's not theirs. And if it's a shit game, you can't say anything about it because you paid for the game. You know? And they're even making a cartoon. Like does everyone remember the Mighty Number 9 cartoon situation when that didn't work? Because people sitting there going, no, we already paid for the game. Why are we paying for your cartoon? And then
Well, at least they're going ahead with Red Ash and be like, dude, let's go ahead and throw the cartoon idea in there.
yeah, you know, because they're packaging it in with the other one, so they go like, oh, but if you invest in the cartoon as well, you know, we're going to be developing this extra little thing. For me, I you know, well, firstly, I won't be backing it because no money. Secondly, I won't be backing it because it's just shady. It's really, if Capcom did this, you'd be screaming to the high hills. You know, and this is where the problem is. It seems that you're getting big companies taking the piss out of this. They're utilizing something that they shouldn't be utilizing, that's meant for independent companies. It's the same with government taxes that are supposed to help small businesses, and big businesses are utilizing it as a way for them to cut costs, you know?
Yeah.
The big guy doesn't benefit from this. All they benefit from is it means they get some pre-orders. You know, they're getting extra pre-orders. That's what they're doing. They're treating this as a pre-order system. The little guy doesn't get backing because, one, you have no money to back them because you've thrown all your money at this project. Or two, you basically don't want to back them because you're like, well, I backed this big game, so why am I going to back that game, which I've never had this guy before. I don't know him. I don't know his company.
Yeah.
And it's just as bad. You know, Smosh, big YouTubers, Yogscast, all these guys have gone out there and asked people for money to develop their own games and stuff, and it's like, come on. I remember the days of the Behemoth. You know, the days of a company who would, if they wanted to get a game made, they would go out there, they'll find the investors, and they would get the game made. And they would have to make a few compromises, but they would do it. And then they would go around and develop small games for bigger companies. Even if the game was terrible, they would develop it. And then continue until the company is ready to sustain itself. Then they would self-publish and self-develop games of their own titles, what they want to. It's like an actor going through some shitty roles until they pick and choose their roles. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where did that go? Why is it we're now getting big companies getting greedy and jumping on the Kickstarter thing?
Yeah, like I said, it makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, it makes perfect sense. I mean, they have a new platform that they're making money off of.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't get too mad.
As well. It's non-taxable.
Yeah, I can't get too mad at them in the sense that, you know, they found something to make money off of, and that's what companies are all about. See, that's another thing is a lot of gamers. I think what it is, they forget that their companies, their businesses, and their business is money. Yeah. You know, it's just the thing is we enjoy what they do. So what happens is a lot of people, they get, and I hate using the term like fanboy or anything like that. I think it's, you know, very overused, just like e-bagging. But I think what it is like they become, like they act like these companies are like their friends. Yeah. Like, you know, like Capcom knows me. Capcom gives me all this entertainment. I'm a huge fan of Capcom. Just for an example, I've seen it happen, and they forget that they're getting snowed because, like, I'm looking at some of the comments right now on my YouTube video, and some people are like, I don't care, I just want to play these games. And I was like, you don't understand though. You're a consumer. You're the kind of person. These are the same people that will complain about things that are going wrong with gaming. These are the same people who are like, I'm tired of seeing Call of Duties every year. I'm tired of seeing Assassin's Creed every
They're
year.
the gullible consumers, I'd put out. They're the guys who would accept stuff. Like, they would buy a bad game and go, well, I liked it, even though the
Yeah,
game was terrible.
yeah, and I mean, like, that's the thing, man. It's just like, dude, if the company really is your best friend, if the company really is being moral, there's no point blank. There's no reason for a Red Ash Kickstarter. There's no point in it whatsoever. They're
Yeah.
just doing it because they know they can,
Yeah, they
and
know
they
they can
and
they get an
people
extra little bit of money from you.
and people know, and people want to play it, and they know people will pay for it. I mean, they're being played. That's all
Yeah.
it is. That's
Yeah,
all it
and the
is.
problem is, what if it turns out that the game is not as great as it should be? What happens if Mighty Number 9 is not as great as it should be? Who's to blame?
Yeah.
Are we to blame because we invested our money? Or is Concept to blame because they didn't utilise all the funds they were given to make the game? I guarantee you that the money that they got from the Kickstarter, if they were asked to show us how much went into that game, I guarantee you not even a third of that went into that game at all. I think out of the, what was it, like the 4.5 million they made off of that, probably, maybe, and this is me being an optimist here, they put in 2 million of the backers' money into that, because I
Yeah.
can guarantee you there was no way in hell they've managed to utilize all those funds, because one, for everyone out there, there has been no promotion of the game outside of the internet, and it doesn't cost money to promote your game on the net. You've got YouTubers talking about you. You've got people on
You
the
got
internet
YouTube.
talking
You got
about you.
YouTube partners. You got YouTube
Yeah,
partners. People that are partnering with the campaigns.
yeah, and
And that's
like,
and that's and that's another reason why a lot of YouTubers don't talk about. Like, I bet you 9 times out of 10, no one's going to be talking about the negativity of Red Ash. Everyone's going to be saying how much Red Ash is going to be awesome, and they
yeah,
want to, and everyone should be funding it. They're not going to be talking about the fact that they're ripping us of they're ripping us off. But then again, Capcom will make a on disc DLC or make an HD remaster or unpolished game. Ubisoft will make another Assassin's Creed that's completely unfinished, and they'll rant and rave about it.
yeah. To me, I think those people have no right to even talk about it because you've compromised yourselves, in a
Yeah.
sense. And for all those people who are blindly following these things and not asking questions, why? I can tell you why. They want free games. They want these companies to come to them as their PR guys because they think that they'll get a leg in with a new startup when the truth be told, you're being used. All these partners are being used. They're being used to provide free promotion for a game that doesn't even cost the amount of money that people have thrown at it. It's like Bloodstained. What was it called? Bloodstained Memories, is it? Bloodstained.
Bloodstain, Ritual of the Night.
Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. One of my issues with this game received 5 mil, didn't it?
Yeah.
2.5D side-scrolling Metroidvania title. 5 mil. How much of that do you think has actually gone into the game's development? For a 2.5D game, Xander,
Yeah.
off the top of your head, truthfully, do you think they needed 150k? I guarantee you the investment in that game will be 150k.
It's like, do they really need as much money as they needed to have it developed on the Wii U?
Yeah.
You know?
And they baited people with that. I felt really insulted about that. And I don't even know if Deep Silver are going to release a physical edition for the Wii U. Yeah, that's probably going to be download only, which is another thing that bothers me. What bothers me is these guys think that they're playing the internet in a sense. These guys are very well liked and appreciated developers. I've got a funny feeling we're going to have a successor to the Metal Gear franchise go straight to Kickstarter.
Oh yeah, like Keiji. I was gonna say Keiji Mifune.
Hideo Kojima.
Hideo Kojima. Yeah, he's totally gonna make a new studio,
Yeah.
and he's gonna either make a new Metal Gear spiritual successor or a Snatcher spiritual successor.
Yeah.
Because Snatcher has become such a cult following. It's become such a niche title that a lot of collectors are wanting to play.
Yeah.
I could see this happening.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And that's the thing. And no one's going to bat an eyelid, are they? They're going to be like, let's throw 5 mil at this because it's, it's Hideo Kojima.
But Pixel Noir didn't get funded.
Yeah. And this is the thing. Pixel Noir, I was on the back as a Pixel Noir. The thing that bugged me about that fact was the fact that Pixel Noir didn't get funded. It was a promising game. It looked good. And there's people sitting there critiquing. And this is the thing about it. And I'm going to say this at that too. I know it's an unpopular opinion. And I know people are going to be telling me to go F myself in terms of this. But if you are backing these projects and you don't care, as long as you play a game, and then you get on your high horse and start critiquing the other guy for taking liberties, you have no right to say anything. At all.
No.
Because you're part of the problem. And the problem is that it's basically kickstarting fanboyism. In a sense, and I'm going to say this right now. The fact that we got that rather insulting Metal Gear demo. Do you remember how many people just sat there and went, "Oh, it's worth the $40." Do you remember
now it's free. Now it's free on PS Plus.
Yeah, and nobody had a problem with that when that initially came out. Now everyone's shitting on it. I paid $40 for this game, and now it's like bargain bin. What do you expect? It's not a playable game. It's a demo. You got the same. Basically the amount of content you got from that game, you got the same thing out of the PT demo, and that was a demo.
Yeah.
And that's where the problem lies. And people are just sitting there and they're throwing their money at these Kickstarters. And again, as I said, for every Shenmue 3 which deserves to be backed, there is still a ton of questions that need to be answered. And I think that's kind of one of the many reasons why it hasn't reached its next goals. I think it's stuck close to 4 million at the moment. I don't know if it's gone over 4 million yet. Because I know Fungo was like pushing me to kind of back the project, and I was like, financially I can't. I would love to throw a few bucks in, but I can't back the project. Financially, I'm not well off. I can't do it. I can't spend money on buying new games. I can't spend any money on this project. But with every Shenmue 3, you have things like the Mighty No. 9 situation, like Red Ash, which... do you know about this, Sean? That Red Ash is a new
it's
game.
like a prequel to Mega Man Legends or something?
Yeah, and it's being produced by Concept, and guess where it headed to? Guess where it's been released on? Guess where they're asking the money from?
PC.
They're asking the money from Kickstarter.
I heard that.
Do you? What's your opinion on this? Do you think they have the right to do this again after already getting 4 million in the bank from people?
Well, see, the proofs. I'd wait until I'd have a product up before I start soliciting for another product. It's like one of these flash in the pan companies. Like, oh, we got all these things coming out, and they never come to fruition in that. And the thing with Kickstarter is now, thankfully, they've changed the errata a little bit, where if you don't deliver, the money goes back to the backers. But in the past, it wasn't such. There's actually a guy down in the States. I'm trying to remember. He was doing a Kickstarter for a board game or something. Yeah. And he actually got taken to court for it. He got taken to court because he didn't deliver, and he's been ordered to pay back over $100,000 now. And he says he's not financially able to. He said he gave excuses, but at the end of the day, he didn't deliver, and he said he's not financially able to deliver because he pissed it all out the door. And now, as Rhode Island or one of these states down there, the state itself took him to court about it. They had so many complaints, so they took him to court about it. And now he's actually got to pay the money back. And that's the thing. See, if you're a company and you got like with Mighty No. 9, now they're saying, "Oh, we're going to do a physical release. Oh, we want more money to make a cartoon." why don't you just put the goddamn game out first and then say, oh, we're going to do a cartoon, we're going to do related properties. And
Yeah.
same thing now. It's Red Ash now.
It's the same thing. Like, I've got people who are like engrossed with this game. Like Mega Ran, for those who don't know, who's actually going to be releasing a track for the game, and I'm happy for him, you know. But at the same time, I just feel like Concept is being really shady with the way they're doing business at the moment, especially with their utilization of Kickstarter. They're not a small company, because Xander, I remember you pointed out that he said that they're an indie company. You know, we're the Kickstarter is being used as an initial investment. It's not, because they're not a small company. You know, to begin with, I thought it was a great idea, because I thought they were going to use this as a way to help them self-publish. That's not the case. They've gone to Deep Silver, who's going to be publishing the title.
And I mean, see, in the wake of the whole Shenmue thing with Sony now, Sony's actually got their own crowdfunding thing on the go now.
Yeah, we were talking
I was listening to a
about that,
podcast. Yeah, I mean, like they did that little Phantom company with their watch and got that funded, even though they're an electronics giant.
Yeah.
And now that they're going through the motions now, you know, trying to get other stuff funded. And I'm just like, really, you guys are like one of the biggest companies in the world. Yeah, they're on a little bit of shaky ground, but at the same time, it's different if they're just distributing things. In the way of Shenmue 3, they're only really distributing the game. They're promoting and distributing. Everything else, the onus is on the people making it themselves. It's kind of understandable there. But
Well,
you get a lot of
it's
bullshit
kind of a bit
Kickstarters.
sketchy as well, though. The fact that they've halfway through, after they met their goal, they went, "Oh, by the way, we're actually going to need 10 million."
That's the thing, too, right? You should have all your ducks in a row before you even announce that you got a Kickstarter. You can't say, like, oh, we need this, we need that, we need this, we need that.
Yeah, it was like you
kind of-
should have just asked for the 10 mil, do you know? And you should have just basically made those stretch goals a little bit more. And now it's it's kind of shot them in the arm in a sense, hasn't it?
I shot them in the nuts.
Yeah, because now the backing's slowed down, and I was talking to Fungo about this recently, and when there's a lot of stuff that hasn't been answered, it's like if you go to an initial investment, if you go to investors for your project, they're going to ask you a ton of questions that you've got to answer. They're going to look at your books. They want to know financially that you're able to meet the demands for that project, that you've got that initial idea. Kickstarter kind of cuts all that out and says, well, you back it, you get loads of cool stuff.
Oh my gosh.
mean-
So I'm sorry guys, we got breaking news
No.
here.
Oh, God,
Oh, give her.
I'm trying to see the date of this, but it looks like Hideo Kojima just put out a Kickstarter.
4.
A game called Under the Dog, and this is funny, an anime science fiction thriller that will explore what it means to live and die while testing the limits of all we hold dear. Sounds a lot like Snatcher.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, jeez.
And any money it's gonna
It's
make
already
its goal.
it's already funded. Yeah, funding successful.
It shows you, and this is the thing, folks. It shows you this is going to happen. If you've got some name in the gaming industry, people know who you are. You can go out there and you can make as much money as you can from people. And this is going to replace, in my opinion, this will replace pre-orders. You're going to see Hollywood studios, if you want your next Avengers movie and say the last movie doesn't do well, they're going to put it on Kickstarter.
You know, it would be like Metallica. I was talking to one of my friends today at lunch, and we were talking about this, and he was like, it'd be like Metallica being like, "Hey guys, we want to come out with a new album, but we really need your help. We need a Kickstarter." And it's freaking Metallica.
Weren't they the guys who sued their fans for ripping their
Well,
music?
yeah. I mean,
sure.
this is hypothetically. They're not really doing a Kickstarter. I'm just
No,
saying.
but I'm just saying that
Yeah.
would be like, people would still forgive them for that. It would be like, wait, you sued us, but yeah, we'll give you money.
Or it'd be like, Led Zeppelin doing a Kickstarter to like remaster their whole catalog for like on a thumb drive or something.
Now, that's true. You're going to see a lot more people coming out now that are in the mainstream wanting to get their stuff on it. I mean, Zach Braff made a movie through Kickstarter.
Yeah,
Veronica Mars
had
movie
a
got made
huge
through
problem with
Kickstarter.
that. I had a huge problem. I think the only person who didn't manage to do that, and I laughed hysterically because he failed twice, was Ubol. But we all knew that Ubol
Fucking crybaby.
Yeah, Ubol was mainstream because he got mainstream negative attention off the mainstream. He also told his fans to go fuck themselves after, like
he had a shady history anyway, because he was doing a lot of kind of weird, shady business dealings with his movies back in Germany. Because
he would
get a return back on him, even if they bombed.
Yeah, so he would basically get all his money funded back, and then he would have distribution deals with Universal. He would distribute his movies and make a huge profit out of them. Ubol in himself has probably made hundreds of millions of dollars based off his shitty movies. Right?
Now he doesn't get to it as much anymore now because they closed that loophole in German law.
Yeah. So now he went to Kickstarter, and people didn't want to fund it because he's terrible.
Well, his track record speaks for itself, right? And that's the other side of, like, you got forever Hideo Kojima, famous guy like that, doing Kickstarter. You got Uwe Boll, whose track record spoke for itself, where pretty much people wouldn't even send him a signed turd in a box, let alone any money.
But what do you think about... Excuse me. Hay fever. Oh, excuse me. What do you think about the fact that YouTubers have been so quiet about this because they've been partnering up with the Kickstarters, like companies behind them? You know, Xander kind of highlighted that fact, how a lot of these guys are just accepting it. You know, these guys who would normally kick up a shitstorm if a bigger company or a company like Capcom or Konami was doing this, you know, like, and I pointed out Alpha Omega Sin, who when the Shenmue team just went, oh, by the way, I know we said we need 3 million, we actually need more than that. He was just like, okay.
Yeah, and I mean, you see, the line where fanboyism and criticism blurs is where you get the problem to. I mean, some people don't want to rock the boat, and that's true, but at the same time, some people who usually make it their duty to call everything in question, as soon as they got a little bit of, you know, I could say the same thing, you know, Bethesda, when they came up with Fallout 4, was like, we need this Kickstarter. I would have been like, oh, I want to back it and want to see it done, but at the same time, you guys make a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
So why do you need a Kickstarter?
It'd be like, why would you need that money?
It's like this in television. Kickstarter is now to go for these 5 games, this app for these 5 games for iOS and that. And they laid out this pie chart. Most of their expenses was going into quote-unquote development, even though they had working prototypes for most of the games.
Yeah.
They tried to say most of it was going to development. Only some was going to promotion, some was going to this and that, but they said most of it was going to development. If they got the lion's share of the work done, why do they need all that money for development? Why do they keep, like... And some Kickstarters are very low in requirement and get overfunded, and they don't even come out with any other bonuses.
like Bloodstained Symphony, which I said to Xander, which hit a 5 million stretch goal, even though they asked for 150 grand. Do you think that they're going to utilize that full 5 million?
Well, it depends. Now, if they're going to be going for... I know that there's a book version edition now for $60, something they're going to be releasing, things like that. But, I mean,
they've just
if they said that
Silver basically to produce the game. So, they basically said, we want to produce this game. It's going to be 150 grand that we need. Do you think that they're going to basically produce that game for the 5 million they've just been given? I don't think so. I think that 150 grand is what they're going to use, and the rest of that money is just going to go into their pockets.
Well, that's the thing. See, Kickstarter isn't like with shareholders where, you know, they have to be directly answerable with their finances and that to all the shareholders. Kickstarter, they say, oh, well, you get all this, you pay this much, you'll get these things. You know, we'll reach our goal. If we're overfunded, like some Kickstarters said, okay, well, we got extra money, we're going to do this, this, and that. Some are just like, oh, we need more money now. You know, like, yes, my number 9 has been trying to break out bits and pieces, say, oh, yeah, well, now we need this, now we need that. We went over our budget, we need this and that. That's the thing. Most people who aren't going through Kickstarter, going through shareholders and that, need to make allowances for if they're going to go over their overhead and costs like that, but Kickstarter, the problem with that, and I don't really have a problem with Kickstarter at the end of the day, but the problem I do have with Kickstarter is that these companies come up with other expenses and shit like that, and they need more money, and we're still waiting on things. I mean, it's... Imagine if Duke Nukem Forever had to use a Kickstarter. Shit.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It would have basically, people would have been pissed, especially with the quality of the game that came out. But yeah, that's the big problem here. It's the big problem with this situation. It's going to get worse. It's going to turn into a trend, and I can see it turning into something where, even if you get a new company that comes out, Xander, who wants to produce a new shoe line, everything that you buy. So Xander wants to buy. They're going to end up turning things into stretch goals. Oh, do you want a physical copy of this game on this platform? Well, you've got to pay this, or if you want this, it's going to pay this.
Or when they do certain things, like they do certain backing goals that you wouldn't normally get in the game. I mean, I agree with that in some ways. To me, say you were to back some video game, and since you're a backer, you get exclusive content.
Yeah.
But to me, that could be something that could be becoming of the norm, where video games are going to be funded by us, and we get exclusive DLC because of that. And it just seems so shady, man. It's really weird. It's really weird.
It'd be different if if you pay us $50,000, you'll get your own custom avatar play in the game instead of the main character. Blah blah blah. That's kind of a cool fucking thing. But maybe turn around and make that a surprise for a bunch of people over the top backers. But yeah, it gets pretty shady, and that's why I'm glad they brought in the rule now, where if they don't deliver, they have to give the cash back to the backers. But that's only been a recent thing.
But this is the thing. It's tax-free money as well. That's the thing.
Yeah, because they don't have go by jurisdictions and that.
Yeah. It's tax-free money because you're getting this money with the promise that you have to make a product. They're not buying anything. They're buying into your company. They're investing, but they're not getting anything out of it. They're just getting a game. They're not getting shares of your company. They don't get say in future games that you make. They just go, okay, we get to make this. Here it is. We've made it. They don't even necessarily have to make a good game.
They just have to deliver the final product.
Yeah. And that's kind of, due to Kickstarter regulations. And that's the thing, with the situation with the Oxcast, it's how they got away with it. They just had to give people a game. They didn't give them the game that they were promised, but they gave them a game which was cheaper, which was crappy quality. They just gave people a bunch of Steam keys and went, well, we've met our obligation, but you really haven't. You haven't met your obligations. You fuck people over. And that's kind of where it leads to this situation is a liability of a company to produce a superior product is going out the window. It really is. And I'll point out that I remember the situation with the Oculus Rift. I watched Alpha Megason's video about the Oculus Rift when they got bought out by Facebook. He went, it was a travesty, this shouldn't have happened, people backed this thing, it should basically be due to the people who were investing in it, and the company just went, we wanted more money. They said it in kind of appropriate. They said it in very educated speak, in a sense. Very PR-ish. That the extra money they get is going to help them develop a lot more and produce a lot more, and make it better. But in the end, they fucked everybody over who backed the project because they just sold it off to a company for $1 billion before the thing even made money. Think about that, and that goes for Concept. Concept could sell their company to Capcom tomorrow.
Bloodstain already. Igarashi already sold the rights to Bloodstain to Deep Silver.
Yeah.
They already had the rights to it.
Yeah.
He doesn't own it anymore.
Yeah. And I'll say that to people, and people are just like, no, he hasn't. They're just distributing it. Nope, he sold the game. It's theirs. This is a Deep Silver property. Deep Silver are publishing Mighty Number 9 and probably future Mighty Number 9 titles. And people don't have a problem with this. As long as I get to play it.
They did break off a little piece for Mighty Number 9, that playable demo for the backers and that, but I mean, still, that was not even a taste. That was like a grain of salt versus the final product.
At the end of the day, we don't know what the final product's going to be.
Yeah.
And this is where it ends. Okay, so let's talk about how this can be fixed. how can this be fixed to benefit people rather than go against them? Because at the moment, the big companies are utilizing this like a tax loophole.
Total transparency for one.
What do you think, Xander?
Yeah, I would have to say just being completely honest, be very open about where the money's going, how you're doing it, make sure you make updates. Because like I said earlier during the podcast, is with these Kickstarters, if one skeleton is found in your closet, you are screwed.
Yeah.
You're gonna be roasted alive because not everyone is has the nostalgia pulled over their eyes. Not everyone's just like, I just want to play a game. Some people are like, I also have some morals as well, and that's going to come out. That's going to come out really quick.
And do you think that people are giving up their morals in a sense so they can play the next game by their favorite developer?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I admit I'm not a saint. I'm saying all this moral stuff, but at the same time, I back Mighty Number 9, and
Same.
I'm probably gonna I'm probably gonna buy a physical copy of Shovel Knight and maybe Mighty Number 9 just because I like physical copies because I don't trust digital. But the thing is, it's still kind of weird. Like I said, like even Shenmue 3, man, I am such a big Shenmue fan. I definitely want to play it. I'm definitely behind it, but I was just like, this is kind of like how I justify myself. I'm like, you know what? I know it's gonna be backed. I don't agree with it. I'm just not gonna back it, and I'll play it later. I'll play.
Yeah.
It's not gonna come out for another 2 years anyway.
Yeah, and that's the way I see it as well. It's like, at the moment, I'm not in a financial situation where I'd back Shenmue 3. I would, if I could, but I'd probably back it on the lower tiers. I wouldn't. I wouldn't basically go into it because there was questions that I would have to ask. Because openly, if they went to me and they said to me, "We want to do this game," firstly, the 2 questions I want answered, which they haven't answered, which is 1, how did you get the rights from Sega? 2,
They released the rights.
from what I've been told, apparently from several interviews that he had, that's not the case.
No?
No, he asked them for the rights and they're allowing him to use the rights. Which it doesn't make sense. There's loads of rumours floating around, but there's no concrete evidence stating why they are now able to kickstart this. That's number 1. Number 2, why isn't Sony helping them with the, with the money? And number 3, why did they initial kickstart go at 3 million? When it cost them X amount to produce the game previously. These are the questions that need to be answered. And it worries me because as I said, as a fanboy, I want to see Shenmue 3 happen. But as someone who's paranoid as fuck, I am paranoid. When I have my gut feeling about something, that gut feeling doesn't go away. And 9 times out of 10, I'm always right. I always go with my gut, and I'm always right. And my gut is telling me that Shenmue 3 is not happening.
I still think it's going to happen. I still think it's going to happen. I think we're going to probably see another campaign or 2.
Yeah, or
like we did with Mighty Number 9.
Or they'll probably end up selling the rights over to another company. Or we'll find out Sega's still involved, and then Sega end up going to fund the rest of it. It just seems extremely shady what's been going on, and then there needs to be a lot more transparency and honesty with the backers. Instead of saying, I guess we did say we needed this, but we need this. It's like, come on, dude. Seriously. It doesn't make sense. At the moment, there is not enough honesty being used, and there's a lot of ifs and buts being thrown around in terms of this campaign that normally, if this was an indie company that did this, I guarantee you an indie company. Well, if it didn't have a big name behind it, and if it wasn't about Shenmue, I guarantee you it wouldn't be funded.
Oh, yeah.
Hell, if as I pointed out to you, it's like if I basically wanted the initial pilot done for that Silent Hill thing that we were doing with Konami, and that got funded, and then me saying, hey, I want to produce an entire series and I'm going to need you to back it. People are just going to be like, what the fuck? Seriously? but we're going to see it. We're going to see TV shows on Netflix. Companies are going to come up and say, we need this show backed. And then people are going to back it. And then they're going to see the show on Netflix. And then the second season comes up. Oh, in order for us to make a second season, even though the show was successful on Netflix, we're going to need your help again. Even though we made 10 million off of it. Do you know what I mean? And it's because it takes away the risk. It's taking away
because
the risk.
with Kickstarter, there's one thing that isn't there that is there with shareholders: profit sharing.
Yeah. Yeah. No risk, full return. And it's becoming an apparent thing in terms of the industry. And it's going to get to the point where I've got a feeling this is going to be the death of Kickstarter. It's going to be death of social funding. Because too many people are putting their hands in the pie that shouldn't be. Hell, you know what would be funny if they did Kickstarter porn movies?
Oh my God!
You know, it'd be like to me, it would be no different than George Lucas. You know, he sold the rights to Star Wars to Disney, but it'd be like George Lucas having a Kickstarter saying that he wants to redo the original script of Star Wars and his original vision on screen.
Yeah.
People would buy it too. People would be like, dude, I want to see this on screen. I don't care. Yeah. Even though it's George Lucas who has so much money, he took like most of his funding from where he lived at because he was trying to build a studio, and the homeowners association didn't want him to do it, so he decided to buy some land and build community housing. Yeah, which was good. It was good that he did that. But you know, like you know, he's got enough money to fund a community housing project. But you know, I could see him opening up a Kickstarter and people would gladly put money down.
He's got enough money to fund his own island.
Well, he donated all the money that he made off that Disney deal. He didn't even take a cent of it.
Yeah, because he made billions off of the Star Wars franchise anyway. He's a billionaire.
And he makes money off. The only thing he didn't sell was the THX because he makes boatloads off of that just from licensing.
Yeah, he made $1 billion off of his company. But he was a billionaire before he sold it off, and then the amount everyone was like, "Oh my God, he made billions off the Star Wars deal." I'm like, that's chump change, because he's a billionaire anyway. He just and him donating it, he's just like, okay, I've got this $1 billion in my wallet. I might as well go and hand it over to charity. It's nothing to him. But this is the thing. But it's like him sitting there, and exactly what Zan's pointing out here. If George Lucas went, I want to go to Kickstarter because I don't make any risk on this. I don't lose a cent if it goes under. As long as I get a finished product out, even if it's a straight to DVD product, it's a finished product.
Straight to VHS.
Yeah, you don't have to guarantee what the product will look like. It could be stick figures.
I mean, it doesn't even have to be on DVD. It could be a digital download.
Yeah.
It could be a comic book.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, he doesn't have to guarantee unless he says you will get a copy of blah, blah, blah. And this is where the problem lies, folks. Because we're giving into the hype. We're basically doing stuff that normally out of good sensibilities, and this is the thing, out of every turns and purposes, if you would have invested, if you came up to someone and you asked someone to back a project of yours and you were not transparent with your project, you wouldn't back it. The only reason people are backing this is because it's their favourite developer of their favourite developer of their favourite developer. That's all it is. And because these guys have us fanboys eating off the palm of their hands so they can get free advertising from any single YouTube channel, they can get free, basically, like, money from each and every one of us who are funding their projects, that they don't have to give 100% of that funding into it, because they don't. If I invest 5 million into a project that costs 150k, if they keep the rest, as long as they're investing that 150k into the project and making that project, that's nothing on them. That's our fault. Because we really wanted it. And that's where the problem lies. I really, really am worried. I'm not, as I said, I'm not shitting on these companies. And I'm going to point that out. We're not trying to put a damper on people. We are just worried on the way that this is going. To see the way that this is going. Because this is turning into a very, very worrying trend, to the fact that you're going to see every single conglomerate out there, any big company that's going to be posting massive profits, do this because they don't have to justify to you, me, or any of us what they do with our money. All they have to justify is a finished product. And they're going to see money that they don't even have to... They probably won't even see most of the money from sales of the game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So guys, do you want to sound off on this and say your final thoughts before we end the show?
People that are doing Kickstarter, please be more transparent on what you're doing. Let us know.
Yeah.
Be more honest.
Yeah. And I'd say, and I'll give anybody an opportunity to come on the show and refute this. More than happy to. Leave your comments at the bottom, guys, as well, and let us know your opinion on this. Sean, what about you?
Same thing as Xander, transparency for sure. Don't half-ass it. I mean, if these people are trying to fund not only the dream of the person hosting the Kickstarter, but it's their dream as well to see this, like, things like, you know, not only Minor Number 9, Shenmue 3, could be somebody trying to make this little tech project, something like that. Put all your best into it.
Yeah.
Just make sure that you're delivering a good product, not just a satisfactory product.
Definitely.
Make sure make these people feel good about the fact that they gave you their hard-earned money. Some people that fund these Kickstarters, they got almost no money, but they really want to get their hands on what you're promising. They're believing the hype, and they're believing you, and they're putting their faith in you. Do them right.
They're basically spending money on empty promises at the moment.
I mean, honestly, I remember when I backed Mighty Number 9 2 years ago. At the time, I was unemployed. I actually took some of my unemployment money to put down for Mighty Number 9.
I was employed at the time, so I actually used my own excess funds that I had. But at the same level, to me, I'm regretting it. I'm not gonna lie, I am regretting it now. Just because the fact, when it comes to this game, I want to know what they do next with it. It's because I've seen all the shenanigans, the pressure, the hard selling that they did.
I mean, they're promising it. Every platform. I'm surprised they didn't make a PS2 release for this thing. I mean, they're like PC, Mac, Linux, all the new systems. You can play it on your toaster. Like, Christ.
Yeah, and also the fact that they basically... They got the distribution with Deep Silver for this game. But the hard sells, the emails, them wanting me to finance their cartoons, them saying to me, are you sure you don't want to give us more of your money? Are you sure? And it got to the point where I just felt like going to Inafune to his face and smacking him one. Because I felt like this is... You sat there and you said you went away from Capcom because of their bullshit, and then you just come up with the same bullshit. You know, it probably even worse in my opinion, because I've never seen Capcom try and force more money out of your hands after you buy their games. Do you know what I mean?
Other than
it's
DLC.
optional with them. Yeah, on just DLC, but that's optional.
Yeah,
that's
but for all the shady shit they've done, you know, that
it's still an option. It's not.
Yeah,
they're
they
not
haven't
forcing you to
emailed
do
you
that.
and said, give us more money because we want to fund the fucking cartoon.
That's what I mean, right? They DLC, that's optional. You don't have to. It's not pay to win or anything like that. These guys are like, we're having some problems. We need more money to get this done. Oh, we want a comic book made too, blah, blah, blah. Just give us the fucking product.
Yeah.
You know, just give us what we already paid for. It's kind of like, what was it, that thing that John Gamester was waiting on for a few years? That
the Pandora,
Yeah, the Pandora. Now, you know, he finally got his, and about 6 months after, the company went tits up. But they didn't kickstart, no. I could just imagine what happened if they did, and then all those things happened.
Yeah. No,
parallels there.
So, guys, tell us, basically, give us your... let people know what's going on currently with your channel. Xander, we'll start with you. Tell us exactly what's happening with the Excess Gaming Podcast and what you're doing next.
Excess Gaming Podcast, we're recording episode 67 tomorrow, actually. So you can listen to that on Podomatic.com or subscribe to us on iTunes. And I will say, guys, if you listen to us on iTunes, please leave us a review. It really helps the show, really helps other listeners find us. Also, youtube.com/Xander Scullions, my YouTube channel. And I actually just covered this subject. It was kind of the inspiration for today's episode of IGG. We decided to talk about Kickstarter, and I did a video called "Is Kickstarter Kickstarting a New Trend in Gaming Development?"
No, I agree, and this is kind of why we did this. And as Xander said there, if you listen to I Got Gameplay on iTunes, please do us a favour, guys, and leave some comments on there. Talk about us. Tell us what you think of our show. And it does help other listeners find us as well. I know we're getting over 1,000 listeners per episode. We want to see if we can continue that trend with you lovely people commenting and letting us know what you think of the episodes themselves. And remember, guys, what's happened on today's episode is just an opinion. It's an opinion of myself, Xander Scullion, Sean Michelin. We do hope that these Kickstarters are successes, but we are basically speaking our minds about this, because if we don't, who else will? Because everyone else is staying quiet on this subject. Sean, what about yourself?
My channel, I'm starting to slowly get back into it now. I'm going to be doing some more Raspberry Pi retro emulation stuff soon. I'm waiting on a Raspberry Pi 2 now, because that's out now, so I want to show it off for that. Besides that, I'm going to start doing a few other projects. As well, I'm very involved, as listeners will tell, with this podcast, IGG. And as you said, in August, I'm going to be actually taking over the hosting duties for this. So it's, as you, Mr. Burhan, you're going to be taking a little sabbatical. So I'll be involved in this as well as my own channel. My own channel is just kind of more of a hobby and ancillary things. I was looking at my views there the other day. I'm still beating. My views are still mostly about my pet care stuff. Their little Miss Chloe actually has gotten me a lot of views on there. But yeah, there's going to be more projects coming out. I'm working on a Raspberry Pi based Atari 2600 project as well. I'm going to be using the shell of a 4-switcher Woody and a Raspberry Pi and a few other things, and you'll see that soon.
Can't wait, my friend. And as always, guys, you can check me out on youtube.com/thenerdjunior. I've got a new 2 new videos coming tomorrow. First one will be another Ask the Minions. So if you want to ask them a question, just leave a comment on the previous video. I would love to basically direct it at them. It's actually quite funny just listening to their little responses as well. Extremely cute and extremely fun to have, and it's kind of one of those things because they've always wanted to do something for the channel. Secondly, I'm also going to have my next YouTuber of the week on there as well, and it's someone who doesn't get their due, I think, as well. And also I want to give a shout out to Dave Wade, Mr. Lawnboys Post 1975, and I want you guys to, you know, check out his channel. He's the last YouTuber of the week last week as well, along with Ronnie Green. And the reason why is he did a video talking about pickup videos and how he feels that a lot of pickup videos are just garbage because it's people bragging about what they have, and I agree with him.
Dick measuring.
Yeah, we talked about it on Burhan and the Boy as a reason behind it as well, and you got a lot of negative responses from that video, but it's one of those things that I think, you know, I'm going to do a rebuttal to that one, as well as also do a rebuttal to Mr. Xander Scullion and his video about Kickstarting, talking about that. Check out all of our episodes of I Got Gameplay if you're a fan. Go all the way to our iTunes, because we've got everything up to episode 2. We will be moving the podcast over when I take my sabbatical to the Retro Unlims channel. You'll still get it on iTunes, you'll still get it on Stitcher, you'll still get it on everywhere else, but it'll be the one-stop shop in order to find every single show. You'll be getting up-to-date episodes of I Got Gameplay in its own feed, of course, as well as the Access Gaming Podcast, as well as Burhan and the Boy, Slamcast, all the other shows on the Retro Unlim network as well. And as you can hear, that's my little one sneezing. And that's pretty much it from us, guys. And as always, for Xander Scullion, for Sean Michelin, for myself, Michael Burhan, this is us saying that we've got gameplay. Have you?